right? In that case, in Germany, the Jewish people were heavily demonized,
Right.
and by extension, consequently dehumanized, and that led to the Holocaust.
Yes, but you're
wait.
missing out on
I'm making a
detail
point. Why do we have freedom of speech laws, and why do we have hate speech laws? Why do we have them? We have them in every single human society. Why?
We don't have them in America.
Hate speech laws? Okay.
Hate speech laws.
Seriously.
There's only incitement to violence, right?
Which is hate speech.
Well, it's not. It's
Well, it's-
incitement to
you're
violence. It's a
still-
very specific type
Okay.
of hate speech.
Okay.
If I say to you,
So
in
there's no
public,
absolute
let's go and kill these people, yes, then before you do it, I can stop you and say you're breaking the law.
What's your name?
But if I, Jonathan.
Jonathan.
Yeah. What's your name?
Can you? Thank you. Thank you.
What's your name?
Is the Adnan?
Adnan.
Is there a society on the planet
Yes.
today
Yeah.
where you have absolute freedom of speech, where you can open your mouth and say what you want?
Close. Yeah, America, you can close.
No,
Yes.
no,
Legally,
no,
yes, you can.
That's not true.
It's called the First
okay,
Amendment.
Okay. Can you stand in America?
Yes. Go on.
and start? Let's say you start inciting people to join a terrorist group. Can you do that in America?
Well,
Let's say that you're not inciting hatred.
So
What you're saying is there is a group somewhere. Go and join it. Should that be illegal?
no.
Why not? You're causing people to join a terrorist
If they
group to
want
go
to
and
join
kill
a
people.
terrorist group, they should go and join a terrorist group.
No,
They'll fight the terrorist
no,
group.
you are an anarchist. You're not
I'm not an anarchist.
You are an anarchist.
I tell you what, I'm an optimist.
You believe in-
I'm an optimist, and I believe that if someone comes to Speakerscorner here and says you're a dirty, disgusting Jew and we should kill you,
No,
I'll have a conversation with him. I'm not scared of him.
No, that's very disgusting.
not.
That's indecent
Why?
behavior. Anyone saying that to
I'm
Jews,
not afraid. It's just words. I don't care.
we don't.
I don't
You
think
see,
so.
this is why I believe in God. I'm thankful. I'm very grateful to God that I believe in God. You know why?
Yeah.
I don't think like that. I don't think like that. I'm not in I wouldn't like to insult people.
No,
My
I
God
don't
doesn't allow
like
me to
it.
insult people.
I don't like it. I just don't think it should be illegal.
It's more civilized. My belief is more civilized
No,
than
it's not.
You just
You're
said
using violence. Here's the thing. Your system, yes, is extremely easy to misinterpret. So
No,
what
it's
you get,
not.
yes, it is. Well, in Pakistan,
Give me an example.
Okay,
Give me an example.
Let's suppose, for example, I live in Pakistan, right? And I read the Quran.
Yes.
And I go online and I discover that my understanding of
Is wrong.
of Muhammad, right?
Is wrong, yeah.
Let's say it's wrong, but my misunderstanding of Muhammad, right, is that his relationship with a woman, she was very young and it was child molestation. I believe that about
Okay.
her, which is an insult
okay.
to Muslims.
Then you need education.
Right? Fine. But let's suppose I need education.
Then you're illiterate and you're ignorant.
No,
You need education.
But I should not be punished for being ignorant.
Yes, no, you should not be.
No,
and
which
who
is what
told-
happens in Pakistan.
No, you have we're sorry, we're having a discussion. If you don't mind, thank you. That's not how it happens. If that happens, the first clause in the law is you reason with people, you sit them down, you give them books, you educate them about human societies, about human history, that back in the day, as late as the 19th century, the age of consent was very low, very low. In Britain, the age of consent was 7. You could marry a 7 years old by law, legally, according to the commentaries of William Blackstone. Commentaries on the English law, William Blackstone.
Yeah, so it was child molestation in the UK too.
Yes, yes.
But the difference is
Okay, wait.
that the UK law is not
Okay.
held up as divine law
Okay.
from God through
Okay,
the prophet.
you said child.
So it's different. It's a different standard.
Can you be slightly decent and let us talk? Thank you. Thank you.
So it's a different standard.
Because you're heckling. You're heckling.
Islam-
There's no purpose.
Islam makes certain claims about its books and about its ideas and about its hero Muhammad, right? So
What
we're
you
looking
call-
at- and wait, and also Islam says that Muhammad's example is forever. It's not like just in the 7th century. It actually applies to the 21st century.
Yes, it
so
does.
It's a different standard. The British law was the old law was out.
It has been outdated.
And we've grown up and we've progressed,
Right.
and that law was discussed.
You have made a very good point. You have made a very good point. Muhammad is a model for Muslims forever until the day of judgment, and Muslims ought to follow him to the best of their ability. Now, how do we follow him when he was riding camels? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. When he was riding camels to Mecca. Now Muslims, you should all ride camels to Mecca, right? How would that sound? That would sound stupid, right? Muhammad's dynamics were different to our dynamics today. Their social values are different. Their norms are different.
Right.
In those days, people traveled by camels. They were using arrows and bows and spears and swords in war. We don't use that anymore. We drive cars. They never had that concept. They were getting married to... Let me finish. They were getting married to younger women. Okay, we don't do that today. Why? Because dynamics have changed. Now, it is the same Muhammad who taught us to be wary of the social realities you live in.
Right.
Don't break the norms of the people. Don't impose your ways on them, right? If it is not obligatory in Islam, something you have to do, do not practice it if it's not necessary in a society. For example, it is Prophet Muhammad who told us these things, that if something is not obligatory in Islam, you can abandon it to live in a society where that's not the norm, right? Today it's not the norm to ride camels. Today it's not the norm to get married to that younger women. Okay, women of that young age. People used to do it in the past and they had no problem with it. Today we don't do that because that's not the norm. Norms have changed, dynamics have changed. It is our Prophet who taught us to not do that in this current day and age.
Do you have kids? Do you have children?
Yes.
Okay. If your child comes home, says, Dad, I've read the Quran and I've thought about it and I decided that I respect your belief, right? But I want to be a good human being, but I don't believe Muhammad was a prophet. I think God is a big mystery, you know, and I just want to live my life as a secular person.
Okay.
Right? How would you feel about that?
I would be very sad.
Right.
I would be absolutely devastated.
Okay.
At the same time, I would sit my child down and reason with my child even for 10 years.
Okay.
Even if I had to reason with my child for 10 years, I have a case with me right now. There is a father, Pakistani father, from a very conservative society called the Pashtuns.
Yeah.
You know the Pathans? Very conservative people. His son has problems. He's left the path.
Right.
He's absolutely left the path. He contacted me. He said, I have been trying to reason with my son for a very long time.
Right.
I said to him, what advice did I give him? Continue with love and compassion.
Right.
Be generous. Do not let your child feel that you hate that child because of the decision he's made or she has made. Continue with love and compassion. And I asked him to bring your child to me and we will sit down and have an intelligent discussion and see how we can solve this problem. So we don't believe in, okay? We don't believe in that. We don't believe in that. And people who try to put this out there that the Muslims are vicious barbarians and they believe in an uncivilized way of life that always dictates, implement the punishment on the spot. You become the judge, the jury and the executioner. This is by the Islamic law haram, what we call prohibited. Prohibited. It's forbidden. You cannot take the law in your hands in any society. In any society, wherever the Muslims may be, right? That's why we are against terrorism. That's why we are against terrorism.
I read the Quran in English, because I don't speak Arabic.
Yeah.
And this is one of the impressions I got from the Quran.
Yeah.
Right? It seemed to suggest that if I'm a non-believer, whatever that means, right? If I'm a non-believer, I'm going to be punished.
Right.
Like that my non-belief isn't a choice, which I don't think it is. I think believing is just you're either lucky or unlucky enough to believe.
Right.
Right. And number two, like, it's a terrible thing if you don't believe. Even if you behave in the most amazing way and you're very kind, generous, but you have doubts, you don't believe.
Yeah.
It seems to me from reading the Quran, and I may have misread it, so I'm asking you, that you're condemned as a non-believer. What do you think about that?
Non-belief.
Misunderstanding of
that's
mine?
a misunderstanding of yours, because I will always talk with references.
Okay.
When you will bring a question, it's a valid question, it's an intelligent question, and many people have this question. I will respond it directly from the Quran. Chapter 60 of the Quran, verse 8, clearly states that those non-believers who do not fight you for your faith and do not drive you out of your homes, God does not forbid you from being kind to them. We the Muslims have been commanded by God to be kind to non-Muslims directly.
I'm not talking about non-Muslims, I'm talking about Muslims who decide that it's not for them.
Right.
Forget about non-Muslims for a minute.
Okay. There is no problem.
Right.
If a Muslim decides that he doesn't want to believe in Islam, there is no problem. Unless that person comes out in public and encourages others to do the same. When it becomes public, it's a different matter altogether.
Right.
Because it's a social faith. Islam is a social faith. again, it comes back to freedom of speech laws. Okay, there are certain things you can say in societies, and there are certain things.
Why do you care? If you're so
you may disagree with that.
If you're sure about your faith,
Yeah.
not you personally, but if religious people are so sure about their faith, and I come out and I say, look, not only do I doubt the faith, I want to be secular, but I'd like whoever else wants to come and join me. Why are you so afraid Let me live your life, and I'll live my life with my friends, and we'll have a discussion.
No problem with that.
People will go with you.
I made it very clear.
Come with me.
I made it very clear. We have no problem.
Against it and violence.
I have no problem. I have made it very clear. We as Muslims have no problem with people being secular. They want to drink, including Muslims.
Right.
They want to drink. They want to have sex on the beach. They want to have orgies and wild parties and sniff cocaine. By all means, go and do it. It's your life.
Right.
Okay, but don't encourage others to do it, because that's when the law comes in. You cannot encourage others. You wanna live your life. You wanna go to Brazil, have the party on the beach. Go and do it. We have no problem with that. It's your life. We as Muslims, let me clarify very quickly. We as Muslims, as a community, global community, have no problem with the choices people make individually.
That's not true.
But when those choices,
that's not true. Homosexuality, for example, in many Muslim countries, homosexuality
is illegal. And
it's illegal by death or violence.
Yeah, that's
right. So if somebody happens to be born with a particular,
it's not punished by death. By the way, I don't know which country you're talking about.
It's in the Sharia law, and just recently the Sultan of Brunei said we won't actually enforce it because people stopped staying in the Dorchester Hotel, right? But he said he's going to enforce it. And in other countries, my understanding is Iran, for example, it's enforced in Iran.
Okay.
And I think
if
I'm gay and I go with my gay boyfriend and I stay in a hotel and everybody knows and there were witnesses, I don't know whatever, I can be punished.
Okay.
Yeah?
That's a good point. Let's talk about it. A very good point. You're raising very intelligent questions, and we want to address them. If someone wants to be homosexual in a Muslim state, in a Muslim country, you can be homosexual in your home. Do what you want. Okay? Do it however you want. 100%. The moment you bring it in public and you want other people to be like you, then there is a law. Islam, you see, Islamic societies are based upon a divine law. We believe in a divine law. We do not have the power to change it. That law cannot be changed because we believe it is from God. God created us. He gave us a law to live by. Let me finish. Okay, in that law, if there's a clause that you cannot do X, Y, and Z, we have to live by that. We can't be hypocrites. We can't pick and choose. Wait,
hang on a second. I understand that you and other Muslims believe what they want to believe about God and divine law. The problem is there's 7.5 billion people on the planet, right? And we potentially could all believe different things. And the question is, what right do you have, right, to enforce by violence, right, your belief system about divine law on someone else, another Muslim, a member of your family, a non-Muslim? What right do you have to do that?
I'll tell you.
You're entitled to your belief, and you and your friends who want to believe can hang out together, whatever. But like when someone's born into the world, what right do you have? And before you answer the question, I want to just come back to my original question, which you didn't really answer. You told me that Surah 60, blah, blah, blah. I'm just telling you that when I read the Quran, right, I know that you just told me that there is a verse somewhere in the Quran that says we should be kind and not.
Let me
there are
very
many
quickly.
other verses which seem to suggest, right, on
you
the face of it,
fight disbelievers.
Disbelievers, right? The word disbeliever, which could mean your enemy, it could mean your son, it could mean your neighbor. I don't know what it means.
It could mean your wife.
It's on every word.
It could mean your wife, your uncle.
It could mean your uncle. It's like,
so when you read
disbelieve that. I'm reading the book. I'm going, when's God going to get over the whole?
Let me respond to your questions.
If God wants us to believe so much, why don't we have more signs? Because we don't have a lot. We have an amazing universe, but we have very little information about the nature of the divine. In fact, you say God divine. God is.
You're raising a number of points, and let me respond to two of the points you raised. Can we enforce our?
I'm going to go home in 2 minutes.
No problem. Can we enforce our ways on others? Absolutely not. In Islam, we are not allowed as Muslims to impose our laws upon the Jews and the Christians. Because they were
Hindus?
Not even Hindus.
Okay.
For example, throughout the Islamic civilization, Jews existed with Muslims
as dhimmi.
Okay, what does dhimmi mean?
Dhimmi means they didn't have full independence and equality.
Well, you
they
don't
didn't have quality.
You have a misconception. There were Jewish prime ministers in Spain. Did you know that under Islamic rule, there were Jewish prime ministers, at least two of them, Hazda ibn Shaprut.
You're bringing out a good example. In Iraq, they weren't Jewish prime ministers.
Okay.
And people had to pay a tax. They had to pay a jizz.
You can't have a Jewish prime minister everywhere, can you?
Sorry?
You can't have a Jewish prime minister everywhere, can you?
You seem to be denying a historical story, which I heard, which I believe. Hang on a second. I'm saying there are instances where there are two Jewish prime ministers, but there are many other instances.
If you let me answer your question.
Christians and Jews.
If you let me answer your point.
Second-class citizens in Muslim-majority countries.
First of all, in the Middle Ages, let me explain very quickly. In the Middle Ages, there was no such thing as the second-class citizens. There were Jewish citizens, there were Christian citizens, and there were Muslim citizens. All of them lived by their own rules and their laws. The Jews had their Beth Dins, their own courts. The Christians had their bishops governing their societies. Muslims had their qadis. Okay, you don't believe me? Just pick up any basic history book on Ottomans and non-Muslims, or Al-Andalus and non-Muslims. You will see how Jews lived their own lives according to their rules, and there was no mullah standing on top of their heads with a sword. You don't do Sharia, we will chop you. No, there was nothing like that. That's the conception you have been fed with by international media and by the international Islamophobia industry. Let me finish. Sorry. Let me finish. Islamophobia has been spread by two extremist entities: Western politicians and Muslim terrorists. I'll tell you why. Because this is a war between Western politicians who are terrorists and Muslim terrorists who are also terrorists, right? This is a war between them. Who are the victims? We, the Muslims, the majority, right? So how are the Western politicians terrorists? People like Tony Blair, I believe he's a terrorist. Okay. I believe Jeremy Corbyn recently said he should be in Hague for war crimes. He caused the war in Iraq, and that war produced ISIS. ISIS is a product. Okay, so how am I, Sheikh Mohammed or Joe or Terry or George, responsible for that?
I'll tell you how. Yeah. You're not responsible for it at all.
We are Muslims. We are standard Muslims.
You're a victim of it, but I'm not saying you're responsible. What I'm saying is, right, that the ISIS, which came out of the deposed regime of Saddam Hussein,
ISIS came out as a reaction to Iraq invasion.
Yes,
and
they successfully used Islamic texts.
Let me talk.
Hang on a second.
I'm Muslim Kurdish.
Yes.
Who killed the ISIS? Who killed
Fine,
ISIS?
the Kurds. Very good.
Yeah.
So,
the Kurds.
I'm Muslim.
Yeah,
very nice. I'm saying that they successfully use Quranic ideas and Islamic texts and Islamic laws, yes, through their disgusting interpretation of Islam, right? And
Wait.
They said our terrorism, this is our understanding of Islam, and they found succor in the text of the Quran, the same text that you read at you.
So tell me, which text in the Quran allows the killing of innocent people? Well, ISIS has been killing innocent people. Tell me which verse in the Quran even indirectly allows the killing of innocent people.
Okay, let me ask you a question, because I'm not familiar enough with the Quran.
I am.
Is there no text in the Quran which has something to the effect of disbelievers shall be killed?
X, Y, and Z.
Killed. Doesn't say that anywhere in the Quran.
No. Disbelievers, those disbelievers who fight you, Quran says.
No, forget about the fight. They just says they don't believe, then you kill them.
No. There's no such thing.
By the way, even disbelievers who fight you, so you can say anyone you don't like fights you.
Let me respond to your point very quickly. The Quran.
I've got to go. Are you here every Sunday?
Last point before you go. Yeah. The Quran has many verses on peace, on war, on diplomacy, on wives, on children, on orphans, on society at large. Right. Quran is a book of law. Like the Torah for the Jewish people, the Quran is for us. It is a book of law. It has rules on everything. So how do we actually practice the Quran? By following the Quran and the prophetic example. Prophet told us, in the light of the Quran, when you are in conflict, when you have been attacked and you have to defend yourselves, okay, do not kill women, do not kill children, do not kill non-combatants, do not cut trees, do not destroy crops, do not demolish buildings, do not kill monks, do not kill elderly. All of these rules are there in the teachings of Prophet Muhammad in the light of the Quran. So Quran tells us what? In chapter 2, verse 190, 191 and 192. Quran tells us, fight those who fight you and drive you out of your homes. Defend yourselves. وَلَا تَعْتَدُوا, and do not transgress limits. What is transgression?
I've got to go.
What I just told you. Very nice talking to you. Thank you so much.
I have a quick question because you ask him a lot.
He's got to go.
One question to you.
Yeah.
It's a quick answer.
Him to leave. He's got to.
Quick answer.
You want to do my daughter's homework?
No, one. I will. Look,
It was very nice talking to you.
What do you
Very
think
nice
about?
talking
Are you
to
here
you.
every Sunday?
Almost.
What do you
another
think
time.
about Israel doing now to Gaza? Are you aware about it?
I
or no?
have only 2 words to say about that.
About what?
Okay, it's complicated.
You see.
Yeah, but I
Imagine if the Nazis were saying that about the Jewish people.
sorry, Adnan, that's come back.
Imagine if they were saying that.
Muslims in Norway are now establishing a masjid and Dawah center to enhance the Norwegian Dawah. If you donate to this cause, you will inshallah reap the rewards of thousands of Muslims coming back to Islam, and many of those will become du'at and invite to Islam. So click the link and donate now and share the video for extra reward.